Hi there, my name's Ian. Welcome to Magician Advice Recommends. Now the first question is, of course, who am I, what are we doing, and what's this all about? Well, my name is Ian Brennan and I work on a podcast team called the Magician's Advice Podcast. There's myself, our main host, Phil Taylor. It's kind of his brainchild for the podcast. We've been running for about 3 years now, and in this last years we've been lucky enough to be joined on board by another magician called Rob Scott. So there's Phil Taylor, myself, Ian Brennan, and Rob Scott. Rob is our editor and kind of quality control guy. He makes sure everything that you hear on the podcast is the best that it can be. Phil is our lead host and I'm co-host on the podcast. We've been going for 3 years now and we've done over 100 episodes discussing magic, giving advice and talking about how to further your career as a magician. One of the things that we keep getting asked is, what effect would you perform for such and such a situation? What would you recommend to carry with you for this sort of situation? Or what do you think about this effect or that effect? And that's prompted us to put together this little video blog on effects that we recommend. It's not going to be a review show, so it's not about which trick is best and which trick is not so good and here's the latest trick, how many stars out of 10, nothing like that. It's not going to be looking at every trick under the sun. Basically, I know and you know there's not enough time to do that. Let's face it, there's so many tricks being released at the moment, there's not enough time to cover them all. So we want to cut out all the wheat from the chaff, or is it chaff from the wheat, I never know. Cut out all the dead wood and get you to the best stuff as quick as we can. So these things that you see on here, whether it's me doing the video or Rob Scott or Phil Taylor, whichever one of us is doing the video, it'll be something that we use and we recommend. Something that we use ourselves, it works in the real world. None of this, oh, how many stars would you give it? Is it going to be used in the real world? Will you use it? Won't you use it? Maybe, no, none of that business. This is something that we've been using and it works. Because of that, it might be a little bit off the ball in the speed of these coming out, because we're not going to be reviewing the next trick that's coming out next month. We're going to be looking at something that's come out last month or before that we use and we don't want to slip by, let it slip to the net. So in that in mind, put my teeth in straight. With that in mind, here's the first thing I wanted to share with you. This effect is Silhouette by Tobias Dostal. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, Tobias. Silhouette. If you haven't seen Silhouette, I would highly recommend it. Magician's Advice, recommend it. I recently picked it up and the summary of the effect is the magician waves their hand in front of a camera, in front of a light. The shadow is cast on the wall, and as the magician is waving their hand in front of the light, the shadow freezes, the magician moves their hand out of the way, and then a moment later the shadow animates itself. The other things you can do is you can have a card, and in the shadow you can have a hand that's empty. You can vanish the card and it appears in the hand. Then the hand vanishes the card and it reappears back in your hand. So you do this sort of byplay with the shadow. The shadow could produce something like a rose, and then you could take it off the shadow makes it vanish. It looks amazing, and the sort of stuff you can do with it is really great. Now, why do I recommend it? Oh, you might be able to tell. We're not going to give away the secrets and how it's done and show you all the ins and outs and the workings, but the box is a pretty decent size, it's well made, and it rattles quite a bit. It sounds like a box of Maltesers. There's quite a few things in there. You get a lot for your money. Anyway, what can I tell you about it? Why is it so good? Why do I use it? I use it as a walk around piece if I'm doing a wedding or a black tie function, and it's sort of an incidental moment. I haven't used it as a big feature. I haven't drawn everyone's attention to it in the room to look at it. I suppose you could, I haven't done that yet. I've used it as more of an incidental moment when people are busy signing a card. I might turn around to somebody else, make a shadow on the wall, and the shadow freezes, move my hand out of the way, and then the shadow moves out of the way. I've used it as an offbeat thing, and it's gone down really well. One of the reasons why I don't want to make it a focus piece though, and I don't want people to all stop and all look. And you could do that. You could have it as part of a stage show or parlour show if you liked. I might try that. But the one thing I don't want people to do is I don't want people to video it, because the angles are really, really sensitive. And I say that with a bit of audience management in mind. It's the idea that if you slow a trick down, or if you watch it back on replay, you can often see how it's done. A lot of sleight of hand tricks, say double lifts and things, you won't necessarily be able to see how it's done, but you might be able to work it out. The movement is normally covered on the video replay, but if you're a magician, you know what you're looking for. What am I trying to say? If you watch this in real life, if you watch silhouette in real life, people are going to be focused on the shadow. They're going to be looking at the shadow, they're going to be watching it, they're going to be so engrossed that they miss any angle sensitivity you have, any flashes you make. The problem with a video is, I think there's almost a guaranteed chance that you're going to flash. I think there's almost a certainty you're going to flash. The people in the room around you aren't going to notice, but the cheeky sod at home who's got it on his Facebook page or who's watching it back on YouTube, they've got the ability to play it back a few times, and as soon as they're not looking at the shadow, they're going to be looking at your phone, they're going to be thinking, what's going on with your phone? And they are soon going to notice the moment you flash just the tiniest thing over the edge. And it is something that is like an extra gimmick that you add to your phone, and at some point I found in my performances that it does flash around a little bit, and you've got to be very careful of that. I recorded this for my Instagram page, and head over there and check it out if you like. It's on there somewhere. It took me a lot of goes to try and get it exactly angle perfect for the camera. I know when I performed it out live to real people, nobody noticed a thing. It's amazing, it blows their mind, and the item you have with you that you might flash is easily disposed of. There's no way they'd see it in real life. But if you watch it back on a camera, it's a lot harder to disguise, and there's a much higher chance of them spotting something on there. So just be wary of that. I would definitely recommend it. Take it out strolling with you. It takes up, even though the box is pretty big, you don't take almost any of that with you. You just take the tiniest bit that you want with you, and it fits into your pocket really easily, the bit you want to use. There's loads of variations you can do on it, and when you're finished you can ditch it really, really easily, really cleanly. So you can perform the shadow movement, so get your phone out, do the, turn your light on, create a shadow, boom and boom, and just as you put your phone down, you can be clean, you can ditch everything away really, really easily. It's ridiculously easy. I highly recommend it. It's something I've been playing with, something I really value, and if I get it down, I might even be doing things like the Rose production in the future. Who knows, I might do it on stage. I have to wait and see. I think I'm down at the Magic Circle in November, so if it all goes well, who knows, I might do it on stage there. We'll see. That's all for this first little clip of Magician's Advice Recommends. Tune in for the next one, and let me know what you think. Take care, bye.